Hi guys, how you doing? I know it's Tuesday and it's just after 6 and WOW TV goes out at 6:30 tonight. If you're in the UK, it's just after 5. The reason I've jumped on now before WOW TV goes out is I've had some really interesting conversations over the last few days with people I have worked with in the past and people that have known me for a long time. And some of those conversations have really struck chords with me. I was asked why I haven't spoken out about what is happening at the moment and the worldwide pandemic of 2020 moving into 2021, as I'm known as a truth seeker and a truth speaker. I've been asked a lot of questions about the Waves of Wellness Detox Week, and there seems to be a lot of confusion around that. So what I thought I would do is come on as a truth seeker and a truth speaker, which seems to be what I've been known for the last 25 years. So it's not that I want to stir up trouble or controversy, or I believe in conspiracy theories or anything like that. You know, for those of you that know me, you know that my son, who was 3, perfectly normal 3-year-old, became very sick overnight, and over the next few hours developed symptoms that eventually, you know, I knew to be autism. However, at the time, I did not know that's what they were. For me, you know, this was bizarre. Why the hell would a 3-year-old get up in the morning perfectly fine, you know, and by the end of the day, when you put them to bed, be very sick, and you never see that child again? Your child is there, but they are not the same. You know, you want to know what happened here. Something went wrong. And so really my truth seeking began at that point, I guess. Because if I could understand what went wrong, then I could do something about fixing it. And I was very shocked when I discovered what had gone wrong with my son, and obviously did not wish for other parents to experience what I had gone through. Had I known at the time, I would have considered different options, but I was given no information, so I couldn't, you know, make those choices. So that's really where it began, and I've, you know, been very, very outspoken about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I think we're given half-truths all the time. And when it comes to 2020 and what was happening in 2020, and the information that I was seeing, the groups of professionals that I am linked to internationally, and the evidence and information they were getting, you know, there was a lot of information. When I looked at social media, I found there was a lot of noise, a lot. And I didn't wish to add to that noise. I didn't think it was of benefit to anybody. My area of specialism is epigenetics, and my background is forensics. So when you bring those two things together, what I knew in March 2020, was that what was coming was going to need some serious intervention. That by the end of 2020, people were going to be in a position that they would then need some serious intervention. And how could I be of benefit to them then? Because I couldn't stop what was happening from March 2020 to the end of 2020, but I knew where it was going. And that's what I did. You know, I took a huge step back. I dealt with my own issues and concentrated on putting together a method that would address the issues that people would be living with at the end of 2020. I recognized that there was an agenda. I recognized there was a play, a narrative. Our history, you know, speaks for itself. We've walked through this before. to activate fear and confusion, isolation, panic, sadness, loss, sickness, death, poverty, even fear of poverty, to remove people's daily routine, to remove them from their family, to stop social contact, human contact. We have lived through this in our history before. It affects the mind, ultimately, and it reduces our ability to think clearly. It reduces our ability to actually activate common sense. And the reason it does that is because when we're in that state of fear, shock, trauma, when we can't believe what is happening, a system in the body called the systemic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, which you guys will know as fight or flight response, that kicks in. And when that kicks in, and it's there to save our lives. If we're attacked, we need this extra supersonic, superhero kind of energy in our muscles to be able to fight off our attacker and run away and save us. That fight, flight response, to get that extra energy we need, it disconnects energy getting sent to our brain, to our gut, to our digestive system, and to our immune system. That's what happens, right? Now, for fight and flight response, say you are attacked in the street and you need it, and it disconnects brain, immune system, gut, which you don't really need at that time, gives you that extra energy in your muscles and your legs to be able to run away. A few hours later, that's disconnected and you go back into a parasympathetic mode. So then your immune system is being fed, your brain and your gut. However, that is not the scenario people were in 2020. The waves of shock and horror, the visual, the auditory, the newspapers, the TV, everything daily was coming in waves. So there was never a shift back into the parasympathetic mode, which is rest and regenerate. People remained in fight and flight. And I could see this was happening, and I knew it was going to perpetuate for many, 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 many months. When you stay in that state for many months, confusion, fatigue, fear, it becomes the norm. And your immune system is not fed and nurtured and strengthened at this time. Your energy to resist infection and attack from anything is also very low. Mental fatigue shifts into depression and anxiety and panic. We just can't think. Brain fog is the new norm. It doesn't matter if there is a worldwide pandemic, genuine threat out there or not at this point. It doesn't matter whether you believe there is or you believe there isn't. Whether people have been in a state of anger, fear, fatigue, disbelief for the past 10, 11 months has resulted in the sympathetic nervous system being deactivated. And now everyone's immune system is far lower than it should be. People that should not have been at risk of anything before are now at risk. And that's what I knew was going to happen, and I couldn't stop it. So I spent 10 months putting together something that would be safe, effective, affordable, doable, accessible by everybody. And I believed that if it was ticking all those boxes and it was explained to people how very important it was to move back into parasympathetic mode, to shift those cells from degeneration to regeneration, to detox the mind of all this fear, anxiety, isolation, anger, resentment, anxiety and depression, to literally clean off the toxins we had collected throughout 2020 by being in a persistent state of fight and flight, and move everything into a state of rest and regenerate, that the immune system would surge back in. And with that surge would come the body's ability to self-heal itself. And we were born, all of us were born with this ability to self-heal. The reason the body doesn't do it is because it's blocked from doing so. And the blocks can come in many different forms. I think one of the main blocks that we've seen in the last 12 months has been the sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, being the predominant state that we are all in. All right, but when that happens, energy, as I said before, is reduced to the immune system, reduced to the brain, and reduced to the gut. Okay, it is reduced. And the reason it's reduced is to put more energy in your muscles and to give you the ability to defend yourself and escape an attack. The problem is the attack we've all been under has been a mental one, right? Fear, loss, panic for our children, you know, isolation, loneliness, worrying about our jobs, our bank accounts, worrying about not seeing family, you know. All of these things have fed our minds when our minds were not being fed by our body and our nervous system. So mentally now, people are living in a state of brain fog with digestive issues and low immunity. And that can change. It can change with mental detox, remove those blocks to wellness, cellular shift, come out of sympathetic nervous system fight flight mode into parasympathetic rest and regenerate mode. Clean up the toxins you've collected in your cells, in your organs, and activate your body's ability to self-heal and self-clean itself. And for me, it's not BS. I couldn't stop people thinking and feeling the way they were thinking and feeling in March, April 2020. I knew the agenda. I knew where it would take people. I knew the state people would be in at the end of 2020. So instead of adding to the noise, I used my mind to create something that would actually be of benefit and pull people out of the mode they would be in immunologically, mentally, physically, energetically at the end of 2020. You know, there is a germ theory, Louis Pasteur, and there is a terrain theory. And for those of you that are on my group or watch the show, in fact, tonight, you'll see an image, 2 fish tanks. And the germ theory is the tank is really dirty, and so it's growing bacteria. And the answer underneath for the germ theory is to vaccinate the fish. Then we have the terrain theory, which is to clean the tank. You clean the environment, and the environment will look after and nourish the fish. If you leave the environment dirty and vaccinate the fish, the environment, which is the body, is still toxic. So the person is still going to get sick. You've got to keep the inside terrain of your body clean. And I can't stress it enough. You know, it is absolutely important. But you have to be in a parasympathetic mode. Your genes have to be in a regeneration mode. There is a lot of shifts that need to happen right now. It is not since the 1940s, World War II, that we went through such horrific, persistent fear, stress, loss, anxiety, poverty, being kept away from family, not knowing or being able to access in cases if our family are okay. And we saw after World War II the increase in cancer. We saw the increase in things like Parkinson's. And the thing is, when you're persistently in a sympathetic nervous system mode, fight and flight mode, where your brain fog is at its most highest, your digestion is at its lowest, your gut and brain access is not working well, and your immune system is on the floor. When you are in that state for long enough, you have no defense against anything. Disease, autoimmune disease. If your genes are genetically predisposed to a certain condition, in that kind of internal climate of toxic overload, low immune system, brain fog, digestive issues, and you have been in a state of fight or flight for nearly a year, you are a sitting duck. And the reason I put Detox Week together now, coming into 2021, was to realign and reactivate the parasympathetic system in everybody that attended. It is our birthright to have an innate immune system that's strong. It is our birthright to think clearly. It is our birthright to have our body able to self-heal and self-clean itself. We were designed that way. Gene expression is absolutely key. So our DNA code, our genes express themselves according to that. And the only time our gene expression changes and becomes mutated is when the environment around us, when those factors change. And having a mental state that is very low, very toxic, filled with fear, that's enough for the cells to mutate and to change. And the amount of people I've spoken to in 2020 who have now developed aches and pains they didn't have before, lack of focus, lack of concentration, people who are chronically fatigued, who have disturbed sleep, they didn't have it before, tinnitus, they didn't have it before, digestive issues, they didn't have them before. And that's what happens when your body is in a persistent state of fight and flight. It becomes the new norm. You don't even realize that this is happening to you. And so my message to everyone is I dedicated the last 10 months to creating a very easy, doable, accessible, safe and effective 7-day detox in order to move your cells back into regeneration, to activate the parasympathetic nervous system so you can self-heal and raise your immune system in order to defend you against anything at all. You know, you don't need to take time off work to do this. You don't need to stop life. It was created to be accessible. So that means people infuse the Detox Week into their normal life. You don't need any supplements to do this. You just need a dry body brush, access to fruit and vegetables and mineral water. That's it. It was created specifically to be as natural as possible. to use epigenetic factors, things that grow organically, you know, all over planet Earth, to bring them together in a specific way so they could reactivate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and regenerate, which would then activate cells to move into regeneration mode, which would then coincide with the mental detox and remove those blocks that you have to wellness. So your wellness can actually start working for you again. And your wellness is your parasympathetic nervous system. And that needs to be reactivated. You've got to come out of fight and flight mode. All right? Because if you stay in that mode, your immune system is not getting the energy it needs. It's getting sicker and lower and weaker by the day. Your gut-brain axis is not getting what it needs to thrive. That most people are barely surviving physically, mentally, energetically, let alone immunologically right now. You have to shift back into the parasympathetic mode. And this 7-day detox was designed to do that. It was designed to be simple for everybody. Even if people cannot show up each day, we record everything, load it on there so you can catch it up later. It is by far the cheapest thing I have ever done. And that's because I'm not doing this for any other reason apart from to help you guys help yourselves and start feeling the energy again. Start feeling the vitality again. But start knowing that you have an immune system that is actually working for you, that you're actually building up and getting stronger by the day, okay? And so anybody that's not checked it out, please go to the website, which is on this live. You can just click on there, have a read of it. You know, you can see the video on there that I've done. It is not like a 2-day liver and kidney stone flush. It is not like a little bit of talking, you know, to make you feel mentally better. This is pure epigenetics. This is working with good science. You know, parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system. Which one are you? Degeneration cellular mode, regeneration cellular mode. Which one are you? Weak immune system, strong immune system. Which one are you? What are you going to choose? I work with protection, prevention, and potentiation of the human body and mind and cells. And I work in the field of epigenetics. And this is 27 years of my experience in 7 days to bring you guys back into parasympathetic mode, to reduce the risk of you being exposed to just about any illness. You know, forget virus. Right now, we have got more things to be concerned about because most of you will have been in sympathetic nervous system mode, fight, flight, for 10 months. That means you do not have a good cellular defense. And you need to put that back super quick. All right? So the show is on in about 3 minutes. It's on F Living channel, and you can stream it. It's Wow TV. Tonight's show is all about the detox week. However, for some people, particularly in Malta, they were unable to access it because they don't have internet. So I put some things they can do to help themselves a little bit. I couldn't put the detox strategies that I've been working on in there for DIY at home because they really need to be guided. We're shifting cells in detox week, and that is a whole different level of guidance that people need. So I will be on hand 7 days non-stop throughout detox week because you need professional guidance if you're going to shift your cells. All right, so that's what I'm going to be doing from the 25th of January. Anybody wishing to join me, anybody wishing to take this step, it's very, very affordable, very easy to access, very simple to do, and more importantly, it will reactivate your parasympathetic nervous system and put your cells into regeneration mode and allow the energy flow to go back to your immune system, back to your gut, back to your brain, so you can think and feel better pretty much straight away. Okay, so I'm going to shoot over now to the show. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I'll be doing a live after the show, so if anyone's got any questions for me, then I will be here to answer them. In the meantime, I want to thank you all for your patience and listening and your commitment to yourself and your own wellness. All right, I'll catch you after the show, guys. Bye-bye.